Good morning, good morning, good morning, all. Welcome to another episode of Spilling Tea. I'm your host, Tiffany Daniels, and we are going to that horrible world known as the JRC, but a few disclaimers. First off, to start off, yes, the hair is fuzzy. I live in Missouri, and the humidity is through the roof, so my hair is frizzing all the hell. But since today's a pool day, and it's getting washed anyway, I don't care, so... Also, if you're wondering if I'm looking relatively just kind of dead, I just woke up not that long ago. And this is the first dose of caffeine, so apologies in advance for that. The allergies are pretty bad this morning. You may hear throat clearing and sneezing, coughing. You know how it goes. So, apologies for that in advance as well. All right. To our usual disclaimers. In the description box, you're going to find a link to the article that the Judge Rotenberg Educational Center doesn't want you to read. It's written by NeuroClastic, a small non-for-profit started by Autistics for Autistics, wherein they interviewed and surveyed over 900 ABA professionals in regards to the JRC's so-called behavior modification program. Matter of fact, the JRC doesn't want you to read that article so much. They have threatened NeuroClastic with a defamation lawsuit if they did not remove it from the website. Well, folks, NeuroClastic has refused, so you know the drill. Please read that article and share it on all your social media. Also included in there is NeuroClastic's public statement regards to the defamation lawsuit threat, as well as a link to their GoFundMe. We are crowdfunding, folks, in case the JRC actually sees through with their threat. Also included in there, the Ozarks' first article in regards to the Agape boarding school, now known as Stone for Help boarding school situation. A so-called Christian-themed boarding school based out of Stockton, Missouri that takes in so-called troubled male teens that has impending over 21 civil lawsuits, claims, and allegations leveled against it, all which have been substantiated by the Missouri Department of Social Services, and they include the following: sodomy, rape, sexual assault, child abuse, psychological and emotional abuse, child trafficking, starvation, and that's just for starters. You have a former staff member, arrested by the FBI, another adopter who still lives on the premises with full access to the boys, up on multiple, again, substantiated claims of sodomy, rape, and sexual assault of the boys there. You have an attorney general too busy chasing after drag queens and trying and failing to defund public libraries and chasing non-existent strawmans to actually do his job. And what can I even say about our governor at this point that hasn't already been said? Please save the last few of us still clinging on to life with our fingernails and not quite able to GTFO the way we would love to. Read that article. Share it on all your social media. Also included in there, of course, all the pertinent links to the Stop the Shocks campaign, including Autistic Hoya's massive archive on the subject, Jennifer Masumba's behavioral sheet of shockable offenses, a clip out of the 7-hour ordeal undergone by Andre McCollins back in 2002, the templates, and the ever-present, self-explanatory, change.org, shut the Judge Rotenberg Center down petition. When we discuss the JRC, folks, you're going to hear vivid descriptions of and catch clips of surveillance footage of peoples with disabilities being tortured and abused. If you got young children present, please use your headphones. Trigger warning, this channel is marked not for children for a reason. We use profanity on occasion and speak on dark subjects. If your child is 16 and younger and they are watching this, very obviously parental supervision is advised, alright? Now, my advice per usual this morning: block the stupid on Twitter and social media, folks. I know, I made that mistake. Sometimes the stupid is so mind-numbing and ridiculous that I cannot help but clap back. But, folks, is it worth it? Is it worth engaging with the stupid? Or is it just going to burn more brain cells? There are certain stupids that we can't avoid. Particularly when you're like moi and you have retired from things like working with the state and now you're a call center jockey. We deal with stupid every day, folks. There's no reason to invite that crap in. Okay? No reason to invite it in. And I've been just as guilty. But I'm back to blocking because, yes, I'm talking about age stands here. I've got bigger fish to fry than teenagers who can't understand logic and facts. Told you the coughing was coming. They want to be willfully and hatefully ignorant. They can do that somewhere else other than my TL. I think you should probably do the same. There's no fixing stupid. You can't reason with it. There's no ability to present evidence and facts because, kind of like dealing with anti-vaxxers, there is no evidence, no facts, nothing that you could provide for them. You could literally take them back in a time machine and have them see it with their own eyes, and they will close their eyes, put their fingers in their ears, and hum like a 5-year-old. I might as well be arguing with the wall back behind me. It gets nothing done. And the reality is, folks, nobody actually believes these people. Okay? To get right down to it, nobody even really believes the media anymore and haven't for years. Everybody knows it's just opinions. Okay? All right, let's get to where we left off last time, shall we? Instructional strategies, and if I've gone over this again already, I apologize, but some things are worth going over again. Instructional strategies. There were no instrumental strategies focused on the teaching her to respond correctly to the computer task. Okay, so my idea about the JRC and their computer programs has thus far been proved to be correct. They sit them in front of the computer for hours. Okay? The only supervision is the very annoying patting on the shoulder. Good job! I suffer from PTSD, folks. If you want to find yourself on the floor right quick, fast, and in a hurry, tap me on the shoulder when I don't expect it. It's not going to end well. It's not going to end well. You. What is wrong with people? If you have a computer program and the teacher is not even assisting with comprehending and responding appropriately to the computer program, why is the teacher even there? What is the point of having them there? I'll tell you. That teacher is not a teacher. They're a superintendent. Babysitter. They're there to snitch on any time you have a so-called behavior they don't consider normal so that they can torture you. That's their sole job. It's not to teach. It's not even to help with the computer program within the context of computer learning like they do at most high schools nowadays. At least that's been my theory, and thus far, Fredda here is pretty much. I did not see one instance of the aide prompting or modeling in any way the correct answer. So unlike when I was in school, there wasn't even a teacher to come along and say, okay, let's try the problem this way. And I hated my math teacher. My math teacher hated me. Let's put it this way, she hated my brother and therefore went out of her way to make my life a living hell. But every once in a while, the teacher part of her got the best of her. Moving on, that's its own trauma. Public school is hell for all autistics, folks, especially one who's got a grudge against your own relative and decides to take it out on you. There was not even the most basic use of instructional strategies. Thus, X was never provided instruction on the educational objective. Okay, so I had this teacher. His name was Coach LaSalle. Coach LaSalle did not know how to teach to save his life. This is like an old boy school, okay? This is like, trigger warning, I'm going to curse. It's bumfuck Missouri, okay? That's part of my high school career. It was bumfuck Missouri. I hope that illustrates it very well. He had a styrofoam cup. He tried to convince everyone was coffee. We all knew it was whiskey. We all knew it was whiskey. It was a pretty loud, open secret. Nobody did anything about it. And as inept as a teacher as he was, even he knew how to write an objective on a chalkboard. If Mr. I'm basically here to pass the time until it's time for the next football practice while getting shit-faced in a room full of teenagers, can manage to write an overall halfway coherent objective on the chalkboard and at least do the bare minimum of giving us pre-written out notes to copy down, what is JRC's excuse? You got a hillbilly school in the middle of nowhere beating a so-called advanced East Coast school. Good Lord. Computer match shapes. Further, not only is there an absence of instruction on the skill, she was actually provided feedback and praise for incorrect responses on this objective. I need a minute. Do y'all even pay attention to your students? Because even my worthless teachers would gleefully tell me when I got it wrong, loud, in front of the whole class. They liked to shame me, especially since everyone viewed me as the smart girl. But anyways, why are you praising someone for an incorrect answer? I'm not saying you need to shame them publicly in the way that I was, because that was horrific. But you can gently correct someone when they're getting something incorrect. To just say, good job, when very obviously they're getting the answer to the question incorrect, what are you teaching them here? Nothing. At least nothing that can actually even be considered even half-assed education. The education is inadequate to start off with. When you praise someone for incorrect answers as though they are correct, what are you doing? So we torture people. Our education is beyond bottom ground subpar, And we don't care if you get the answers wrong, as long as you don't have a behavior. Remember when I said this school only cares about behavior and nothing else? When X received a few instances of praise for her behavior, good morning consistently on computer, and good at sitting appropriately at your computer, I swear to God, if somebody said something that asinine to me, I would bid on a 4-point board and probably would have never left the thing. Let's just say that. She was not looking at the computer, nor engaging in a correct response. In other words, the use of praise was not contingent on correct behavior. It was clear from my observation that X's behavior was the focus of the session and not her IEP objective. Further evidence of the eliminative approach to behavior. Exactly. Folks, if you need any more proof that all they care about at the JRC is behavior, that they do not in actuality in any way, shape, or form actually care about the education of these kids, please listen to what they're saying here. There is a reason why schools like JRC, and although they are the most extreme, they are by far not alone, focus on nothing but behavior. Is very simple. It falls usually in one of two categories. Either they believe that it is a complete waste of time to try and educate us because they do not believe that we have the actual capacity to be able to learn. So they feel like, what's the point? That's a lot of the older dinosaurs. You know? Or there's the others who don't want us to get an education because then we might actually be able to communicate in a way that will shine the light on the torture and the abuse that they are raining down on said student. What they focus on is control. They don't want to teach them, they want to control them. They want these kids malleable and controllable. Now, there are a lot of folks from the old school that fall in both categories, who both believe that we do not have the capacity to be able to learn, so any actual try at an actual traditional education is pointless, and therefore, what the focus should be on is forcing us to be as neurotypical as possible, and if in the case that is not able to happen, we want to rule them with such an amount of fear and instill in them with such a level of self-hatred that they are malleable and controllable. That is the basis of places like the JRC. They don't teach these kids any better because they don't think these kids are capable of anything better. They are more of a jail/torture center rather than a school. The fact that our federal government rained millions of dollars upon them during COVID, with nobody bothering to actually go in there and see what it was that they're actually teaching in this so-called school. The fact that nobody cared to send anyone to do an investigation, to even do the bare minimum to see if they are actually meeting state, local, and federal standards is insane. It's insane, folks. Even your most rural public schools were subject to inspection and are required to meet particular goals before they are able to receive state, local, and federal funding. This should send alarm bells off in your head. Okay? This should wake you up. This should help you understand that all these politicians care about is looking good. The only time they send investigators in is when you are on their ass. And when you remind them every single day how many of us vote and how many of our relatives vote, because that's all they listen to. If you think they care about you, me, or any of the causes that they're yelling about loudly in Congress and the Senate, I'm here to tell you, folks, they don't. Power, money. And we're never going to get anywhere until we realize that. I hate to be that cynic, but I'm jaded at this point. I've wheeled and dealt with these guys for far too long. I know what works and what doesn't, and appealing to their conscience does nothing. Point blank, from my experience. The answer to this particular question is, it's up to us, folks. And quite frankly, the silence about the ongoing torture, the inadequacy, the lack of food and lack of proper food, safe, and healthy concerns, the silence in the media on this place and on schools just like it, especially the troubled teen industry, is deafening. We're going to close out on that, folks. We don't get very many views on this channel. The few that we do tend to get removed from time to time. So please don't forget to hit the like button, hit subscribe, and don't forget to hit the comments. I do appreciate your time this morning. And as always, folks, we here at Spilling Tea do hope you have a good one. Bye-bye, everyone.